How's it going, everybody? I've got some more magic for you today with a Boros Tokens deck. This deck is actually super light on any kind of new cards, and the reason for that being, I just really wanted to play like a good deck today, a competitive deck today. So, I realize that kind of takes away from playing cards from the new set, but I don't know, I'm just not having very much fun with a lot of the new cards. I do still have a lot of decks that are going to utilize the new cards that I plan on uploading this week and going forward. But today I just really wanted to play something that I could call like a competitive deck that's actually really strong. It's the deck that I'm using recently when I don't really feel like playing Magic, but I still want to knock out my arena wins and such. So this deck is extremely quick. You're going to go through your matches in just a few minutes, and through the course of doing so, you're either going to win or lose and know it's going to happen like right away. So this is a really aggressive Boros token deck. It plays off of Arabella, so we've got a lot of non-combat damage available as well using the Shocking Sharpshooter. You've probably seen stuff like this before. This is just kind of my version of it. The only new card from the Spider-Man set or through the Omenpaths set that I have included in this is one copy of Kraza the Swarm is one. It's not super synergistic in this deck. I don't want to sit here and say that, oh, this is what makes the deck. The reason that this is in here is because it has the ability that spells and abilities can't be countered and damage can't be prevented. So our opponent doesn't have it. It basically becomes a counter spell blocker for this deck for you. It makes it to where any of your spells, not just creature spells, are uncounterable. So that's even better than like Cavern of Souls in a lot of situations, especially since we're not playing like a tribal deck. We also do have Voice of Victory, which makes it to where opponents can't cast spells on our turn. So this deck is actually really nicely protected against counter spells. I guess I'll just kind of go over a lot of it here. We've got Sheltered by Ghost, which is really our only removal in this deck. The sideboard here, you can see pretty much all of it is removal. We've got Torch the Tower, Lightning Helix, Get Lost, a couple of Ghost Vacuum for Graveyard Hate, Elspeth, which is really nice in this deck. I have had it in main board before. Sometimes it's really nice in sideboard, especially if you're up against a more control-oriented deck. And then Windcrag Siege is okay. This is, in my opinion, probably another thing that's better against that controlling matchup where they're just wiping out all of your creatures persistently. But I like using a War Leader's Call in this deck. It pumps up the power of all of your creatures and deals damage upon entry, so it can be really nice to also deal with a lot of those decks that are just wiping out all of your creatures. But it can really lend to the fact that we're creating so many tokens, because we're creating tokens from Stadium Headliner, creating tokens from Voice of Victory, and creating tokens from an Call. And doing so is essentially a good way to ping down our opponents using Shocking Sharpshooter and Arabella. I do also have Dollmaker's Shop. Now, unfortunately, Dollmaker's Shop does not get the benefit of Delny's bonus because it is an enchantment, but this is still really nice as an alternative win condition by allowing you to pay 6 mana and increase the power and toughness of all of your creatures. Increasing the power and toughness of your creatures goes against Arabella's ability and Delny's ability, so it goes against the way that this deck works as a whole primarily. So I don't like playing more than like one War Leader's Call, and I only do Porcelain Gallery if it's like a win condition and I know I'm about to win. Otherwise, your main focus is to get out things quickly and overrun your opponent very fast, eliminating them sometimes before they're even expecting to die. And that can be really easily done with Delny doubling triggers on any of our abilities. So it doubles the Arabella ability, it doubles the Shocking Sharpshooter ability, doubles the ability on Voice of Victory, Stadium Headliner, Hinterland Sanctifier, doubles the ability on a Call as long as it is the first or second time it's triggering, and with doubling the ability triggers, we also have the ability to double the tokens with Exalted Sunborn. You could run more Exalted Sunborn, or if you don't have this card, you can run Elspeth Stormslayer, but the fact that you can warp this in for 2 on, like I said, that turn you want to just overrun your opponent, it's really, really fantastic. Anyway, that is more or less the deck. I guess the only other thing to talk about is the land. You could use some Multiversal Passage in this deck if you really wanted to. I don't feel that it's necessary because Boros is so strong. Getting Sacred Foundries in Starting Town is really nice also, plus we have the fast land with Inspiring Vantage, so Boros is in a really good spot for land. The Restless Bivouac is the one card that I'm really a toss-up on. Sometimes it's really nice having that one creature land to just push you through when your opponent's got the board wipes and stuff to slow you down. But at the same time, this can slow you down in the early turns enough to actually kind of cost you the game as well, so it's really a coin flip. However, I feel that Dalkovan Encampment is extremely good in this deck. You could easily remove this Bivouac and just go like 4 and 4 on basics, but I have one in, and I still, even right now, I'm still super unsure of how I feel about it. The Dalkovan Encampment can absolutely just win you a game as well, though. It has the ability of creating... It basically has the Mobilize ability, but it happens from the land anytime you attack. So you do got to pay, 4, 3 plus tap it, so that's 4 mana. Creates 2 1/1 tokens, would be 4 1/1 tokens with this. Potentially all of them could be 2/2s and deal 1 damage upon entry with this. So absolutely can also just kind of push you over what you need to win in that last moment. So I really think Dalkovan Encampment's a good option here, and it doesn't always enter tapped. If you have a mountain or a Sacred Foundry already out on the battlefield, Dalkovan Encampment will enter untapped because they count as mountains. So really good there. And if you did decide to use, for whatever reason, the Multiversal Passage and have them enter as a mountain, it would also act as something enabling you to have Dalkovan Encampment untapped. If you decide to switch up the mana base any, aside from what I've got. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and be playing best of 1 like I normally do, going for 3 wins. Like I said, I do apologize that this isn't like an excessively through the Omenpath oriented deck. I considered trying to use a lot of the spiders. Kraza, like I said, is really good, and you could potentially run more of it, but if you use the Riot ability to give it a 1/1 counter, then it counts as a 3/2, meaning that it no longer benefits Arabella or Delny, making it unblockable, things like that. And if you just give it haste, it only has 1 toughness, so it can be blocked very easily by most things. Really, this is just something I thought would be good on board, like I said, acting as a means of making all of our spells uncounterable. If you have Rizna, the other, like, 1-drop spider, then you have a very similar problem in that it gets 1/1 counters whenever you attack with it and 1 other spider, or anytime you attack with 2 spiders. So if you have Rizna out, it's only going to be able to benefit Delny and Arabella for like maybe a turn or 2. There weren't a lot of other really good spiders. You could use the new spider in place of Hinterland Sanctifier, the 0/2 that has the gain life whenever you have a creature enter the battlefield. However, it's a 0/2 instead of a 1/2, so the stats are worse and you can't attack with it. It does put 1/1 counters on other spider creatures that you can control, but then again, you're scaling outside of Delny and Arabella. So if we leaned into spiders for Boros, it would have to be a completely different deck because it doesn't fit the theme of this one. And this one's a really strong, like I would say this is a very competitive, viable deck. It's one of my favorites to play. You could also include the 3-drop Boros Spider that adds 1/1 counters and gives you land, I think, something like that off the top. Again, very similar. It makes you scale out of out of Arabella and Delny's range. And in itself, it's like a 3-drop 3/3, so it doesn't lend to either of these to begin with either. And we're already almost getting out of range with War Leader's Call. Like, if you play 2 War Leader's Call, then your whole deck is outside of range of Delny and Arabella. So you got to be really careful of that as well. That's why you could consider doing these Windcrag Siege. But the problem with Windcrag Siege is if you play it on Jeskai, then you're just getting 1/1 tokens each turn, and it's only one of them. So it's no better than like the Dollmaker shop, for example, which is cheaper. And then if you're doing the Mardu side to double the mobilize triggers, then you have the problem of if all of your stadium headliners and Voice of Victories are just being killed off, then this is a completely dead card on the board, not doing anything for you. Whereas this could win for you if you get your opponent near dead quick enough. Even if your things are being killed off, the ping on entry from War Leader's Call can win you the game. So I really feel like this one fits a spot that is just better than Windcrag Siege in most situations. But like I said, best of one, I'm going to go for 3 wins like normal. I'm going to go ahead and get into games. I've been talking long enough. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. It is a very good, very fun deck. Okay, unfortunately the opponent does get to go first, but we'll go ahead and keep this. We've got workable land. Voice of Victory is a really nice early play too, especially if we can get that Omenpaths call going. Don't mind that at all. We did get the land for the Anim, which is really nice, which means we could go Voice of Victory into Anim into Delny. Of course, they have some answer, like even fucking Green's playing ways to kill all of my creatures at this point. At this point, I'm going to go with Arabella first. It's frustrating, but we're going to need the lifelink. Go ahead and go land here. We'll get a Omenpaths call down. Make sure to order it to where Anim's trigger first. Next we'll go Delny, and we should be pretty fine from there. We'll have a significant form of a lifelink, as well as a lot of tokens in play. Yeah, you go ahead and attack with the worm. We're going to go ahead and play Delny now. And can attack with everything because they didn't leave up blockers. Make sure to order these at the end. And they're dead. So, really quick win, even against an extremely aggressive deck that wasn't having too much trouble. This is essentially how you want the deck to work. You get out your early creatures that can get you a lot of value, things like a Nim, Arabella, Voice of Victory, Stadium Headliner if we had it. Then Delny doubling triggers makes Arabella extremely, extremely dangerous. We hadn't even hit with our combat damage yet, so this is a pretty good first game. Let's see what we can get out of a game 2. Alright, unfortunately our opponent does get to go first, but we've actually got some pretty good stuff here between the Headliner, War Leader's Call, and Sunborn. Looks like it's probably a mono-white life gain-oriented deck, so we'll have to see what we can do with it. Sheltered by Ghost, of course, because everything always is removing my creatures immediately. I'm sure you already heard my frustration in the first game of it. Like, every single deck is playing so much removal at this point. It's actually crazy. So he can't attack, because if he does, he'll lose his creature. Okay, what do we want to do here? I would like to get my Headliner back. I don't really have the land for it, though. Let's go Voice of Victory here, because next we could go potentially with like a Delny or something like that. Maybe even double spell if we get something good. Interland Sanctifier's fine. Got a land, so double spelling is an option. I don't think it's what I want here, though. Let's go for now with War Leader's Call. And then I'm going to attack with Voice of Victory. It would actually be wise for them to try and block my Voice of Victory, though I doubt they do. Sheltered by Ghost is really, really good on the Sharpshooter, because then it makes that have life gain. Okay, so what do we get rid of here? Probably these two. We did unfortunately lose one of our big token generators by doing that, but we also wiped off a lot of their life gain off the board. Got a land here. How do I feel? Don't have any token generation. I think I'm just going to go ahead and go here and take their Hawk, because I have the mana to take it and the Sheltered by Ghost this time. That gives us back a token generator, and we get some pings in. They can't kill this, so I'll attack. They're really getting unlucky with some draws here, so that's really good for us. Let's go ahead and go Delny first. It's going to double up. Well, we're not going to double up triggers on that anymore, unfortunately, because it is above 2 tough or 2 power. But that's fine. We get a pretty easy win here, generating extra tokens and stuff. So, really easy game too. They got unlucky drawing so much land there, but it kind of worked out for us. I would have liked to even have played more, but we got to take their Hawk. I still think it was a good play attacking with the Voice of Victory, just because it let us get rid of both of these at once. It was risky. We always still had to worry about if our opponent was going to get something that was going to pay off from the life gain that they were getting, but we at least managed to keep getting some of our token generators back. This was going to allow us to get, I think, like 4 tokens from this. It would generate 2 from Delny, and then double, so 4. There's going to be 4 triggers here and 4 triggers here, and then we could attack with both of these, so pretty decently quick match for us. Let's see if we can get a good game 3. Opponent gets to go first. Our land looks pretty okay, so I'll keep. Let's go ahead and just start with the encampment. We could do something else, but we don't have a turn 1 play, so it's fine. Another Might from the opponent. I'm okay with a Sharpshooter, because it's really good with lifelink. I'm not going to bother blocking here, because they probably have some way of killing my creature if I do. Let's go ahead. Could do Delny. I think a Nim's going to be a really good choice here. Yeah. So let's go with a Nim for now. We'll go ahead and attack to get 1 trigger on a Nim. And then next, we're probably going to need Sheltered by Ghost and something else. We'll have 4 land available, so we could do like Exalted Sunborn with Sheltered. And I think that's a really good target for Sheltered too. Yeah, that's fine. I don't really care. So let's not even lose any life here. Let's go here. Sheltered by Ghost here. Alright, we'll take that. And then next we want to go here so that we can double our tokens. Attack all out. Now we're going to be gaining life based on all those tokens that entered. Our opponent is now at 1, so we should be able to just play any creature on our next turn to win. Okay, Giant Growth. Then our opponent's attacking in. It's going to be pretty significant damage. But we are now at 1. And as I said, we can just play any or, you know, most of our creatures here. I could actually start with, like, Delny and then, you know, whatever. It doesn't matter, but we got a win there. So that was our game 3. Not too bad. They got stuck on 2 land for a while, but that's how this kind of deck works. Honestly, I don't know. I think they should be in Gruul if they're going to be, or, you know, maybe Sultai if they're going to be playing the Heliosymbic Mike. This thing is best used in like green blue or green red because you get so many good value cards in those colors. There's the little landfall dude that is a flyer in blue green, not to mention the new card that's blue green that I really think this should, but it could just be that they didn't get the land they needed for whatever color. But anyway, really easy match because their land got close. I mean, they actually got close to killing us. Us healing as much as we did made a huge difference, and might have even should have done it earlier, but we kind of needed this all to trigger the way that it did for us to gain as much life as we did. Having Delny to double triggers next was going to help too. But anyway, that's it for this video. This deck's a lot of fun and is actually pretty competitive in my opinion. I used it to get up in ranked on the last set release, essentially, because I didn't change this deck much from what I was using in Edge of Eternities with this. Like I said, I did add the Kraza, but it's you don't even need it, really. It's something that's nice to make sure that your things don't get countered, but you get a lot of that with Voice of Victory as well, since they can't play spells on our turn. But either way, that is it for this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for joining me.